AI is going to be the next real estate agent.
Actually, AI is going to get rid of teachers. Generative AI, to be exact. We don't. Why do I need teachers if AI can do all the work for me? If I'm a student, why?
And if I'm a buyer or a seller, why do I need a real estate agent if I can go to ChatGPT to create a CMA, a seller CMA, a buyer CMA to do research on data or even cold call? Here's what's interesting, Mina, about this conversation around AI taking jobs. So I got an email from the Department of Regulations asking me what I thought about AI. Here's what's interesting. And I'm going to keep it simple. There were 3 questions that were asked. I'm not going to tell you the questions, but I am going to say, well, I can't tell you the questions because I need to go look at what they are. But the questions were very basic. And my response in the email was, I think you're looking at the wrong thing.
What's the wrong thing? What's the right thing?
I thought that the right conversation around artificial intelligence in real estate was regulation around a bot doing real estate. So let me give you an example. I own a brokerage, and let's say because I own a brokerage and I have real estate agents. What if, because I have agents that are top producers, I have agents that are producers, and then I have agents that are dual career. So sometimes people sell, sometimes some of the time. And what if I was able to train AI to do the work? And in my head, because I already know what's happening in other countries, Canada. And so I can train AI to cold call on my behalf and have a real life conversation with the public.
Okay, you
But let me go
can.
back before you, because my response was the concern should be, do we regulate AI? Do we allow AI licensees under the watch of a brokerage?
You know how I like to talk about, we all say AI, like AI is everything. And we use it like it's interchangeable. And I typically will say generative AI because you're generating artificial intelligence, you're creating something new. There is a difference between generative AI, GAI, and AGI, artificial generative AI. And it dawned on me that when you just said automation, artificial generative AI, it's not here yet for us, but you're going to have a point where ChatGPT is going to start to create for you without you having, because it knows who I am, it's just going to do something for me. So there is it's not only is it already here, it's just not available to us because, we're always behind. Even ChatGPT came out years after other people were playing with it, because if you had 2.0, there had to be like a 1.0, right? We didn't see that. We didn't see 1.0. And it not only is it going to take over jobs, we already talked about it's already taking over jobs. It's taking over jobs that are computer based, tech based, translating. Like I can talk to ChatGPT and it'll translate for me and make me articulate a different language very well. It's not going to take over the tangible jobs at the moment, like a phlebotomist, somebody who's taking your blood, or a plumber, because somebody needs to get in there and our fingers are hard to duplicate. But generative AI, it's going to be able to do the work of teachers. It's going to be able to, I mean, a 5-year-old can't think. So are teachers going away? No, because a 5-year-old can't teach themselves how to think about how to prompt. But sooner or later, as children get older, I can see a middle school student that has maybe a guide or a teacher far away, because middle schoolers could possibly be at home alone. Too long is probably not a good idea. But why do we need something like this? It's going to be the affluent that probably will benefit most, because we need to organize people and we think differently. And if we send people out into the world, they kind of are chaotic. That's why we have schools. But I'm telling you right now, we have proven that we don't need teachers the same way because of the pandemic. And I foresee that we're going to lose the education system. And well, we're not going to necessarily lose it, but if we don't change, it's going to change for us. And those that don't want to adapt or adopt to ChatGPT, Gemini Cloud, Artist AI, whatever the platform. And why do I need a teacher to tell me when, when you're in, if you're ever in a meeting or a conference and somebody says something and you're like, what is that? Back in the day, we used to just Google it. I can just go to ChatGPT and say, I didn't get this, tell me. And it'll give you all the articles you need. And it's so fast. Like we don't have we can't sit still for 2 seconds. So why am I going to sit still and listen to somebody that's taking too long? Because you're boring. So I can go find it on my own. And self-learners are going to learn exponentially. And
And,
real estate agents, they're coming for you.
and
What you
so,
going to do when they come for you?
so well, I recently taught a class in person on data. And at the end of the class, I talked about how you could leverage data using ChatGPT. So what was interesting about the conversation was, well, first of all, something happened where we had to take like a 5 minute break. And while we were on a break, I said, does anybody want to ask me not anything because now's the time because we don't have the computer up or the screen up. And so an agent said, real estate agent said, Carrie, I had a client that sent me an email and said ChatGPT said that the offer we're writing is too much.
Well, that's kind of a good thing.
And so no, it is and it isn't, because this is why I can prove that you still need a real estate agent to interpret what someone is looking at. And so I said, so okay, what happened? And so she said she went and did the CMA, and then she went back to ChatGPT, and she was able to prove to them that they weren't writing a bad offer, because what AI didn't have, although now we have five, is the current data. And
Didn't
even
have
ChatGPT,
context. It didn't have context.
well, it had old data, because, and I said, this is what every real estate agent needs to know is easy, even as of today, if someone were to come to you and say, this is what ChatGPT said, or whatever platform you're using, you need to be able to go ask the question, how current is the data here in ChatGPT? And you
So
also need to know that data is not being shared kind of with ChatGPT, because it is held under like the multiple listing service, but it doesn't mean it can't be purchased. But there's still a gatekeeping aspect to this. But you do have platforms out there that are pulling the data from public records. You're pulling the data from like a realtor.com and homes.com. And I'm not going to say the other platforms, you can, because they're the real estate agents competition. So she took the information, she threw the
wow.
current data into ChatGPT and said, this is the current data. This was the data that my client gave me. Can you help me say to my client why they're writing a good offer? And so she was able to go back, and the consumer said, oh, I understand, because the data in when you're using these platforms, it may or may not be current. So the value of a real estate agent is to be able to interpret the data. When we think about it taking jobs, what I learned from that immediately, because I was testing the CMAs back in 2022. But what I immediately learned was, next generation consumer, especially the younger folks, they're not coming to learn from us. They're not coming to the local association, the state association, the national association. They're not even going to their real estate brokerages. They are in AI. And so if you've got the consumer in AI and you've got the real estate agent in AI, everyone needs to be looking at this every single day, even if it's for a few minutes, to know what's happening, even if you don't want to use it.
What I just learned from what you just told me was that if that real estate agent didn't know about ChatGPT or any type of artificial intelligence that generates for you, it would have taken their job because the consumer would have said, you're wrong. You can't prove it to me. I'm going to go get somebody else. First of all, would have lost out on some money. And
Well, maybe
second,
not because
and
of I mean, yes and no. How about that?
possibly,
But right.
but theoretically, based on the information you just said, that person would have been like, I'm out. You're not even up to date with the latest technology. And you're telling me I did all the work for you. There's going to be a belief that I can do your job. There already is a belief in this with younger people that they can do your job. Because I believe I can do a whole bunch of stuff because of ChatGPT. I believe that, I mean, there's so much that I can do without somebody helping me until I really need help. But what you also said was this real estate agent knew to challenge it because they used ChatGPT to think in a way to use the data that was current and then argue what the other person did. And if you don't have those skills, you will lose your job. And I don't mean like you're going to not be a real estate agent. You're just going to lose clients because the new client is very savvy. They're different And back in the day, you didn't have a choice but to go to the people that had all the data. It's kind of like the news. We went straight to the television for the news. A lot of us go straight to TikTok because I
No,
would rather you
Reddit,
tell it
Reddit
to
and
me.
TikTok still.
It's
Reddit
funny
still, but right, and the news is live streaming on TikTok.
because they had to. They had to flip the script. I would rather people become really good at using how to generate new content, new context, new ways of taking all information and putting it together. Because we don't know how to do that if you don't learn. And I mean, it's only been here 2 years, and we have new GPTs. We're at GPT 5, which is wonderful and beautiful, and it can organize you even better. And here we are talking about business. I'm in education and I'm already watching the education system not influencing children. We're really good at saying teachers need to learn it, they need to be better at it. But children, if they don't use it and learn it, they're gonna use it anyway. And then they're gonna use it in a way that helps them do it the way that where they cheat or they don't have context. And they don't think the way an adult thinks. Typically the brain is fully developed like around age 25. So we're asked a 10-year-old that puts the assignment in is not asking it to help them learn. It's asking them to do it for them so they can go outside and get on their skateboard, scooter, go swimming, or on their, I'm sorry, they probably don't go outside. They probably go right to the Xbox or the PlayStation. They
But
just
if they are going outside, they at least probably have an electric scooter or an electric skateboard.
bike or that unicycle
They got the
thing.
tech. They, they,
Um,
they've
I
got the
think
tech.
that's they're using it to just get away with, I just want more time. It's giving people back more time, but it might be doing stuff for you instead of doing stuff with you. And where we are today, maybe not we're having good conversation. I don't know that we're having the right conversations about why people in businesses, entrepreneurship need to get good at understanding how to prompt, how to have conversations with ChatGPT and using it with other people and having conversations like we are. Because it can become my think tank. I'm not going to lie. It can become my therapist. It can tell me,
Oh, let me tell you,
it can be my doctor for that matter.
we could literally come back and talk about therapy because we'll talk about that after this. But before we end, I'm and we give our takeaways. You said something important, and you said flip the script. So I'm always challenging you about because I'm an entrepreneur and you go to work, and you're and I'm always challenging the narrative on why can't you ask them if you could do this? And you're like, there's rules, there's policy. And I think that everyone that is considering the position they're in, whether you're in real estate, whether you're a business owner, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you have a job that you get up, get dressed, and go to, that people should change the narrative and ask the hard questions and the what ifs. Because the what ifs say to me that if agents, real estate business owners don't start to use AI, and I don't mean just for a listing description, they're going to be replaced by a brokerage that is using AI even to cold call, but it's not regulated yet.
I agree. And we've had this happen before. We've had it happen in the coal mines. We've had it happen in the steel mills. We've had it happen with automation, with using the internet. Encyclopedia companies, if they didn't put their encyclopedias online, you remember the whole big old books that we used to have, they got, they went out of business. So you will become obsolete. I actually like that word. You create your own obsolescence if you don't learn a new skill. And we don't go to school just for skills that aren't something you can turn into something else. Because even plumbing, even the waterworks, people don't realize they use coding to move systems. Like they use drag and drop at these water districts, they use coding to move things around. And if you don't have tech skills, in no matter what industry, because I promise you, there are big semi trucks that are automated now and they're using generative AI to get it across the country, and there's no one sitting in the truck seat. And we don't even know. You look in some of those trucks. So we don't realize that the next generation is going to not just get left behind, they're not going to get jobs. You wonder why many children are living at home now because they're not being taught how to create the new position for themselves and learn how to learn because those positions aren't even created yet, but they're coming really fast and we haven't taught them how to do it. We haven't taught children how to, well, I shouldn't say we haven't. We need to get better at teaching children how to think, and have thought partners, and to use generative AI.
So, what is your one or two takeaways about job replacement when it comes to AI?
Learn the skill, go on to, it doesn't matter what platform, and we can get stuck. If you are a person who likes a checklist or a to-do list, the checklist might be add something to your schedule every day, because you can do anything for 25 minutes or even 10 minutes and learn a new skill with generative AI. And I would argue ChatGPT, but Gemini, Copilot, just start asking it questions so that you can get better at using it, and help it, and come to our YouTube channels, because we will help you too.
And my takeaways would be is go look at the top 1%, the income earners. They are
Yeah.
always learning something new and adding it to whatever their income streams are. So if you are someone that is not reading, if you're someone that's not using ChatGPT or AI or looking at what's new, you will definitely be out of a job. So I'm Carrie Little. I am the designated managing broker of Caramark Realty Group in Illinois and Florida. I can be found at Carrie Joe Little everywhere, or just simply Google me. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, subscribe to mine at MJBLAZY. And yes, I would Google me too, or go into ChatGPT and see if you can find me there